Okay, we're live at the Back Bay Astronomy Club meeting, and I'm just going to walk around the room and let everybody introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Anna. This is my first meeting here.
Great, Anna. Welcome aboard. Okay, Jeff?
You're doing this on Facebook Live?
Yeah, we're Facebook Live right now, actually.
So if you want to put it on this for a more steady.
Oh, I'm okay.
Okay.
And
This is my second meeting. This is my second meeting, but not my second time with Paul.
right. You're a regular, actually. Yes, sir. Okay, Paul, nice to meet you. You got a great son. All right. We're going around the room doing introductions. We're doing introductions, so go ahead and do your introduction.
So I'm Matt McLaughlin,
Okay.
a member of the Scholarship Committee.
Super. Okay. Yes, sir.
I'm Sean Jolly. This is my first meeting.
Okay, great.
I'm Claire Tonies.
Hey, Claire.
First meeting.
Nice to meet you. Welcome.
Kevin Brooks, it's also my first meeting.
Okay, Kevin, welcome aboard.
Ben Loyola?
And there's Ben.
George Reynolds, this is my first meeting.
Yeah,
No,
sure
no,
it
it's
is.
not. I've been here for 20
it's about his
20
thousandth
years.
meeting.
Plenty
About your
donor.
thousandth meeting, right?
Eddie Paris, longtime
Okay.
member.
Eddie, very good. And our president.
Hello, I'm Sean.
Okay. And I'm Jeff. And we're about ready to start the meeting. Okay, so I'll sit down and we'll start the meeting right over here.
Are you ready? Jeff, are you ready?
And we're live. We're ready anytime you are.
Are you ready?
I'm ready. Oh, I'm first up. Okay. Well, let me
Oh, that's Jeff.
let me put the camera on myself up here. Okay. All right, I'm ready.
All right. Welcome to the June meeting of the BBAA. And as I just said, we'll start out with Jeff doing the Vice President report.
Is it up and running?
No, there isn't.
I was just going to do it and I forgot to get up here and do it.
Okay, let me open.
Okay, well, I'm the vice president of the club, and it's my job to actually show everybody the agenda for the month, and we start a little bit of the month of July too. I don't think there's a club meeting in July. Can you tell the director's going, drag it out a little bit.
Yeah, in July we have the picnic.
The picnic's in July, and so we don't have a formal club meeting. We have the picnic instead of the formal club meeting. All righty. So Sean's getting my calendar ready. The calendar is located on the Night Sky Network. So if you want to jump in there, and you don't have to actually log in to get it, but if you don't log in, then you have to tell what club meeting or what area you're in and what club meeting you want to associate with, and then it has all our events. Otherwise, you're going to see all the events on the for everybody. I guess everybody's Night Sky.
What is the Night Sky Network, please?
What is the Night Sky? It's NSN dot. Oh, I'm sorry. Night Sky, just like one word, slant JPL dot NASA dot gov. And from there, now Sean's trying to log in here. And from there, well, it's okay. We'll just log in as a guest.
Yeah, I wanted to do the log in so you can see all the events.
Right.
That's fine.
Right, you can't quite see all of them, but we can see all the ones that are open to the public. And I'm glad to see lots of club members here and lots of extra people here. Welcome aboard. Hope you decide to join us too. Okay. All right, I'm gonna make it just a little bit bigger so everybody can see it too. There we go. All right, so this is the calendar for June. And right now it says 7:30 club meeting, that's today. The next event we have is Garden Stars on the 7th of June at 8:30. And that's at Norfolk Botanical Garden. That following Saturday on the 11th is Saturday Sunday, and that's at 10 a.m. And we set up telescopes to look at the sun on Saturday. We call it Saturday Sunday. The 14th is Boardwalk Astronomy at 6 p.m. Astronomy number 2. I think there's 5 of those, and that's number 2. Skywatch that following week on the 18th of Saturday starts at 8 p.m. at Northwest River Park. That's all we have on the calendar for the public. but there are a couple of corn watches, and I don't know what the dates are.
The
17th and the 24th.
17th and the 24th,
And then night watch is on the 25th.
and night watch is on the 25th. It's not on our calendar, but,
Those are private events for club members.
right, right. Right. Okay, any questions for the schedule?
You wanna go to July?
Oh, that's right, I forgot. I'm supposed to go to July and just update that. Well, notice there's no club meeting here. It says, 7:30 cancel club meeting, because we don't normally have one on July anyway. We do the picnic instead. Garden Stars is the first event on the 5th of July. Saturday, Sundays on the 9th. Boardwalk Astronomy on the 12th.
Picnic's on the 16th.
What's the 16th?
16th is the picnic.
It's not on there?
Oh, okay.
It's not on the calendar yet,
He's looking at
but the
public.
James Webb Space Telescope first images is also July 12th.
Oh, it is?
Yep, NASA came out with the date.
Ah,
That's the same day
We'll
as
have
the
to do
board.
both if we can.
Well, it's supposed to be early afternoon.
Maybe we can do a picnic here instead of, that's an idea. Okay,
You know we're doing Boardwalk Astronomy that day for sure.
right. Oh, 12, but now I'm talking about the 16th.
No, the 12th.
Okay, the 12th, I see what you mean. All right.
What's the times for the 16th, do we know? The times for the
noon to
16th?
3,
Noon to 3?
11 to 2.
11 to 2,
That's what it says in there.
whatever.
All right. The following,
It's 11 to whatever, really. We rented the shelter the whole day.
And where is it? At the Chesapeake?
Is that the Elizabeth River Park at Chesapeake?
Elizabeth Park.
Yeah.
okay. The 23rd of July, Skywatch, Northwest River Park. The next event, Garden Stars, on the 2nd of
August.
And I won't do any more events. Any questions on the events for June or July? Well, I got the calendar here.
All right.
Thank you, George, for assisting me with the live, we're doing a live Facebook, as you all know. Okay, back to you.
Thank you, Joe. All right, next we got the secretary report.
Okay. I have the meetings, minutes for our last meeting. It was brought to order at 7:45 p.m. You can stand up here. The vice president report was presented by Jeff Goldstein. He went over the calendar, the events that we just had. We had a pretty eventful May. Had a total lunar eclipse watch party. I guess you would be going over that with the old business? With the old-
Observing reports.
With the reports, observing reports? Is that correct?
We can, yeah.
Okay. It's up to you. Okay, it was pretty eventful. And we had a nice meteor watch out at Windsor, Virginia. Able to catch quite a few. It was over 200
Overruled.
meteors. But anyway, that will go in later. Then I did my secretary's report. Then we had a treasurer's report. Then Ben
I don't know how to
gave us
send a
a
message.
scholarship report that will be presented tonight. Bruce Powers gave us an Elk Corps report. And there was a lot of discussion about the Jupiter Asteroid Impact Detection Project. Then we went into old business. There's new business about buying solar glasses, which we already did. There's going to be a solar filter workshop. And we went in about the club purchasing a new telescope mount, which is working out really well. The cost was $448 for that. And then we went into observing reports. And that's all I got.
Thank you. I know, you know why you did that, right?
Well,
Because Rich can't interact.
Rich did say,
That's right.
Yeah, Rich said I motioned that we
did make a motion,
dispense,
and we saw it
And I'm
after he
texting-
started
I'm
reading it.
texting them already,
but we don't know how to reply to those messages, so we just let
I'm
them
sorry,
go.
Rich, I know you're hearing it, but I didn't see it until it was too late. He'd already started it.
And because we're not having Zoom available today, I'm going to just read the treasurer report. That's why I was texting Rich to make sure I had it. So let's see here. He said the total account balance on May 1st was $9,933.54. On May 31st, the balance was $6,964.87, of which $1,580 is in the primary scholarship fund and $1,784 is in the Georgia June scholarship fund. So that's good. We had some major expenses this month, which account for the large balance decline, the biggest being the $2,700+ for the eclipse glasses, which you will see over here. I would like everybody to take a look at these things, because you pass it around.
We've got a nice close-up of the glasses here.
You know, we decided that we were going to invest as a club in getting solar glasses because it was so expensive last solar eclipse for people. And we were gonna sell these for like $2. We'll still make like $1.50 profit for the club, so we'll be able to fund our scholarship with it, and it'll be a good deal for the public. So we ordered 5,000.
Nonprofit organization.
5,000.
Right.
I don't have the taxes.
You should have
Yep.
Well, they're gonna sell out.
This is done, but whether we
I
have-
think we will sell out, because there's an annular solar eclipse next year, and then the total solar eclipse in 2024. And I was just telling Jeff earlier, I looked on the long-range calendar, and I'm pretty sure it's gonna be 15+ years before there's another eclipse here in America. So unless you travel like Kent does, you wanna check this one out.
Absolutely.
So let's see, back to the report, though, it said, we also had to pay for our web hosting and insurance policy this month. On the income side, we received 2 large scholarship donations. Thank you very much, Ben. And Georgia June's sister also contributed a donation towards that scholarship fund. We did not have any new members, so we're still standing at 154. After, I think we lost 4 or 5, or got 4 or 5, I can't tell what it meant to type there. We're in a little bit of a lull. So there's 2 more big expenses have gone out that will be accounted for in June. I paid our astronomical league dues, which was $750, and George took out checks for the scholarship recipients that will be mailed out this year. Or, he didn't mean this year because we have them here tonight. Alrighty. Let's see, next we'll go into the Alcor report, because we're still waiting right now. Okay, and I also have Bruce sent me an email.
I got a note from Rich that he paid the $750 for the Alcor.
Yeah, and that's exactly what Bruce says in his report too.
What is Alcor?
Yeah, what's Alcor?
Astronomical League Coordinator.
Check.
We have to pay $5 per person to.
Explain what Alcor is.
Yeah, we have to pay $5 per person to be in the Astronomical League, and when you join the club, your $23 dues pays towards that. So we're all a part of the Astronomical League. So
Anywhere.
our annual dues this year was $750, because we're doing so good on how many members we have. Let's see, Bruce said he will mail in the 2022 ballot of officers for the Astronomical League. There's only 1 name per position, so everybody knows who's gonna get it. Congratulations to Ben Loyola for receiving his Double Star Observing Award.
Saw your name in
Very
there.
good.
Round of applause. Congratulations to Jonathan Sheets for receiving the Urban Observing Award.
Hey, Jonathan.
And Stephanie Allen of the Virginia Department of Conservation and Recreation is re-engaging her boss on the East Coast Star Party restart at Chip Oaks. And that is it. And so next, we will do the scholarship report.
Am I up?
With Ben, you are up.
Great. All right, I get to bring my glasses. So first, I can't encourage you enough. We got a lot of new members here tonight. The Alcor is a great program. I guess it's a global program, but mostly US based. And there's all sorts of observing reports, and you're automatically a member of that. And you get a magazine once a quarter.
Once a quarter.
Once a quarter. So there's all sorts of neat observing reports to get you out. Like my first one was the lunar with me and my wife and my girlfriend at the time. And that was kind of neat to do together. So there's stuff you can do in your backyard, there's stuff you can do with telescopes, binoculars, all sorts of stuff just to get you familiar with the night sky. And then if you really go deep into it, it can take quite a few years to knock some of the stuff out. So it's an amazing program, and you become a member, you're a right member. All right, so scholarship, so awesome. So our club has an incredible program to award 2 scholarships every year. And the Back Bay Amateur Astronomers is a 501(c)(3) educational non-for-profit organization. So money's raised, money's donated, outreach programs that we do with the City of Virginia Beach, at the Boardwalk, Mount Trashmore, Chesapeake, we get donations. We can take corporate donations, individual donations, and that's right off your taxes. So it really helps out. And it goes to a great cause to help us outreach with George and so many other folks that go out and show the telescopes and show the sun, as well as do things with classrooms and libraries. And then also the great really honor of this club for our size to give out 2 very substantial scholarships. The first one we're going to go over is the Georgia June Memorial Scholarship from the Back Bay Amateur Astronomers. And Georgia June was a wonderful giving person that was an officer in the Back Bay Amateur Astronomers, and just really gave a lot. We're all volunteer force here, and through her outreach and everything. So unfortunately she left us early, and kind of in memorial of her and her service to the public and to our club, we established a scholarship in her name. So I'm excited to say that the recipient for the Georgia June Memorial Scholarship was going to be Gabriel Dandrake.
Gabriel.
Just, come on here for a second. One more thing. It's a very competitive process. I mean, it's grades, it's GPA, it's SAT, ACT, it's teacher writing a memo, it's a 500-word kind of essay to tell you about their involvement with astronomy or science, that kind of stuff. And then the scholarship fund committee gets together and we score them, rank them, and then the recipients are awarded. So, Gabriel, congratulations. You're incredibly smart and sharp individual. So, I'm going to. But before I give him his check, he has to do us a little favor and read your essay to the club you made.
Very well. All right. Do I have everybody's attention?
Yes.
All right. Just making sure. All right. So, most of you who I hang out with most of the time, like Sean and Jeff, like, you probably, like, I'm sure you all know that of course, I'm a big astronomy lover. And that actually started out when I was about 6. Like, so it began, I used to live in Maryland, and I got my first astronomy book, a picture book. And I found the images of galaxies and nebulas to be pure, just to dazzle my eye. And it made me realize that that space is beautiful beyond anything that we can find here on Earth. And even when I was little, before I had any telescopes, there was just a pure sense of peace that I got whenever I was stargazing out in the back patio. Those were my earliest impressions of astronomy. It was just unearthly, the feeling that I got from standing below a dark sky. I moved to Virginia when I was 6. And at age 11, I got my first telescope, which was a 6-inch reflector. It was flawed, yet it was a wonderful little device, and with it I could finally see some of the objects that I had read about in the books, like nebulas, and especially things like the moon. It wowed me when I first saw them, and still wow me today. After my old telescope ran its course, and that's putting it mildly, by the way, I spent an entire summer cutting grass to get a replacement, which wound up being a 10-inch Dobsonian reflector. I can say that this is the best non-essential galaxies that are normally invisible pop into view when the telescope's giant eye is turned on them. With it, I became much more well-equipped to see deep into the recesses of space, and I began to grow my list of accessories, as well as my thirst to see more and to push the boundaries of what I could observe. It was never enough. Sure, I had a big telescope, sure I had a ton of eyepieces, sure I had a semi-dark sky to observe from, but I wanted more. I wanted others to be able to see the sights that I could see. And although I had a few opportunities to do so over the years, I wanted to do it more. It was this search that led me to Back Bay. In a way, this organization has functioned like a home away from home. It has been a place where I can gather with like-minded people who share similar passions and to finally bring this hobby that I love to others in the community. I decided to commit to the club in 2021 after I attended the annual picnic in the summer, and from there I have made efforts to attend every event that I can, getting to know all the other members, many of which are in this room, and experiencing the same joy and peace that I have been for years with others. Best of all, I was finally able to share my love of stars with the masses and educate them on the vastness of the universe. Nothing made me happier than the gasps of delight when someone laid eyes on Saturn's rings, or the Orion Nebula, or some other spectacular object. I even have taught a couple classes on the astronomy basics as a last-minute substitute for the BBAA vice president, and earned great reviews for my largely improvised lecture. To me, astronomy is more than a hobby. It's a stress reliever. It's a teacher on creation and its beauty. But most of all, above all else, it's a way of life that calls out for adventure and exploration of the most distant frontier that mankind has ever dealt with.
Very good. Very good. Nice job.
Yeah, well, hold on for a second. I want to read, because most people do not get, is this the right one? Yes, Gabriel, right. Most people don't get to hear, and some of these come sealed envelopes, so I'll let you hear it in case you haven't heard it the first guys. You know, a part of the scoring is a teacher input of some sort, a little write-up about the students. So this is what your teacher said. Dear Scholarship Committee, I'm glad to recommend Gabriel Dandre for one of your 2022 scholarships. I was Gabriel's instructor for biology and advanced astronomy physiology at Keys. Gabriel took the class simultaneously in his sophomore year. He consistently scored in the top 2% of his classmates. Touche. His scores were all A and A+. Gabriel was a dedicated student. He's a self-starter, self-motivator. He always went beyond the assignments to gather more information on the topics. He often shared up-to-date information which I was not aware of. He is not only a great academic, but Gabriel has excellent work ethics, great character. He has leadership skills and is very willing and enthusiastic to share his knowledge with others. You can tell that, can't you? He works well with other students and is a favorite with the instructors due to his love of learning. Please contact me if you require more information. Yours truly, Cheryl Blake. Very nice. All right. So, thank you, George. And we want to present to you a $1,000 check for your scholarship. Congratulations. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
It's a real neat stuff. By the way, I didn't feel to mention Matt and back. Raise your hand, Matt and George. Raise your hand. Members of the scholarship committee, and we get to read all these and score them and stuff like that. And literally, they'll bring tears to your eyes. Some of the stuff is incredible talent and energy, enthusiasm, and incredible achievements. So on to our general scholarship. This is the Back Bay Amateur Astronomers. It was originally established. God, we're on our 10th year now. We're giving tens of thousands of dollars away, so I'm very excited. So the 2022 recipient for the Back Bay Amateur Astronomer Scholarship of $1,500 is Caroline Kritzberg. From Chesapeake, and Grassfield High School, so congratulations. Now, are you a reader or not? You're fast?
I can read it.
You
I'm
sure?
losing my voice, so if it sounds
It's up to you.
I'll
All
go
right,
for it.
go
I'll go
ahead.
for it. Okay.
This is her write-up.
Carefully choosing the best seat in the planetarium theater and listening intently to my presentation, Virginia Skies, the curious little boy not only made me feel less nervous by asking questions during the show, but also caused me to reflect on my life and learn more about myself. Last summer, I had the opportunity to volunteer intern at the Virginia Living Museum's Abbott Planetarium in Hampton, Virginia. During this internship, I've performed live planetarium shows to an audience of around 75 people about topics such as meteors, astronomical objects in our night sky, and exploring our universe. After weeks of training to learn how to operate the theater, projector, and give detailed presentations about the night sky, I had my first show on June 4th. On this specific day at the planetarium, I was presenting the Virginia Skies Show, which is a fully live program in which I talked about the summer night sky in Virginia and how to find certain stars, constellations, and planets. After beginning the show with a shaky voice and nervous demeanor, the little boy's interest in my presentation boosted my confidence, asking which planet is that in the west? Is that the North Star? Do those stars over there make a constellation? And other similar questions created an interactive atmosphere in the theater. After the show concluded and the guests were ushered out, the The little boy and his mother stayed after to thank me for the presentation. Slightly embarrassed by her son's overexcitement during the show, she justified his behavior by emphasizing his obsession with astronomy and giving a description of the space-themed mural on his bedroom wall. Driving home from my shift that afternoon, I remembered how similar the little boy was to my younger self. I found my 4th grade field trip to the planetarium years ago fascinating and inspiring, just as the little boy thought mine was. This gave me a sense of accomplishment because I knew I was following my passion. The realization that I was working at a planetarium, just like the presenter on my 4th grade field trip, advanced this self-reflection. Just as my field trip was influential in developing my career aspirations, my presentation could have impacted the little boy's future by inspiring him to follow his passion just as I am doing. Working at the planetarium was just one step in following my dream of working in aerospace and astronomy. In July, I completed the Virginia Earth System Science Scholars Summer Academy through the Virginia Space Grant Consortium and associated with NASA Langley. This program simulated the work of a NASA mission in which my team, Team Atmosphere, worked together in different roles to create our own NASA mission. As a research scientist, I dove deep into information and data such as the decadal survey to complete tasks such as deciding which were the best instruments to include on our satellite. While planning to major in aerospace engineering and be a member of astronomy clubs at Case Western Reserve University this fall, I will continue to pursue my passion of astronomy and aerospace.
Amazing talent with that. And then I'll read the teacher's report here too, and because this one was sealed in an envelope. So, to no make concern, I'm writing this letter of recommendation for a great pleasure for Carolyn Pittsburgh. Carolyn has been an exceptional student for her entirety of her high school career. Though I have only had 6 months to observe her as a student in my AP physics class, her reputation as a hardworking and dependable young lady has proven true. Even in these extraordinary rare circumstances, she continues to excel in her many endeavors. Caroline has great skills working in groups and individually as she displays great leadership skills when working in a group setting. She's well liked by her peers and highly respected by her teachers. Caroline has worked hard during her 4 years at Grassfield High School. She has taken many honors and AP classes and has worked hard to score high on the exams that accompany them while also being part of the STEM Academy. She participates in the Grassfield National Honor Society, Rho Kappa National Honor Society, Science and English Honor Society, and Mu Alpha Theta Honor Society. Carolyn works very hard and volunteering much of her time in service projects for the homeless, as well as dedicating time to receive her private pilot license at a local airport. Carolyn even dedicates her time with many different clubs and school activities. In Caroline, you are going to find a thoroughly tested young lady that is both resourceful and dependable. She carries a 4.6 GPA, has completed many community college credits, and has a future that is bright and bound to be filled with success. And rewarding her with a backband to Astronomer Scholarship will be investing in an individual that without a doubt will make it her passion to excel, her highest potential, and greatly influence her peers to be as successful as her. Yours truly, Justin San Augustine, physics teacher at Grassfield High School.
Very good.
And thank you, George, again. All right, $1,500 check to you. Congratulations, folks. I was not going to put I'm assuming Dad?
That's me,
yes. You missed that part, but the fruit doesn't fall far from the tree, so incredibly talented, so I commend you as well. So thank you all.
Thank you.
We have a
More
door
than
prize, so this is for your ticket for the drawing.
And now, since you're welcome to stay, this will go on until about 9 o'clock, depending on, I'm not sure what. You're welcome to stay, or you have to leave, I understand, so, and I look
Don't
forward
feel
to.
obligated if you don't want to.
Yeah,
stay.
exactly.
drawing is this for?
We're gonna have a drawing. Prize at the end. At the
It's
end.
right here.
Door prize.
Anyway.
Take door prize, sign it.
All right.
This is.
What about the people that are joining the meeting here? Do they get a ticket?
David?
No.
Okay. You put a sticker that says signed by, so.
Thank you, George.
Looking at the title, I'm bringing the cover. I may have to get that anyways, even if I don't get it.
Don't buy it yet, because we have more.
I've got one. I got that.
You gave me like 4 copies on that book.
Yeah. I'll win something eventually.
Well, you just did.
I say.
Yeah, the best gift tonight.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ben. We will go on to the triple RT report. Since Bert's not here, I pulled up the Skynet Robotic Telescope Network. And for anyone who's curious, This is a telescope on Fan Mountain that is run by UBA and Norfolk State University. And as club members, you have access to it. It's a $1 million telescope in a planetary or a dome there that opens when the weather's good. It says it's bad right now. But you can use it to take photos from wherever your location is robotically. And it's a great asset. So if you've looked on, what's that website,
Slew.
Yeah, it charges like $100 a month, and this is free for club members, so it's a good price for us. But it is, for a long time, we always like to show if it's working, because for a long time they were having problems and it wasn't working, so we always check every month now.
You have to get an account to have access to it, so if anybody's interested, just email a club and you'll get an account with unlimited usage. It's unbelievable. It really is over $1 million resource for us to use and download imagery. You can download a JPEG, or you can download raw data, do scientific analysis and that kind of stuff. So
Yeah, basically, you log into this website here and you submit your jobs with the filters and everything that you want to have take a picture with, and it'll put it in queue. And if it's available to see, like that night and there's nothing else going on, it'll take the photos for you, and you can log in and look at all the photos.
Is there a picture of the RRT someplace, John? You can pull up?
There was one on the
It's right here on the website.
on our club page.
That's Fan Mountain on the top. That's the telescope. It's a clamshell dome. Is there a picture on the inside?
No, I don't know
Huh.
that. Unless it's on the blog for.
It's got to be someplace. You should do a search for RRT. No, that's that now. There it is. That's the bottom of it. Keep going, keep going. There it is.
Big boy.
It's a big boy. RC Optics. It's a beast.
A 20 inch? Is that
24
20?
inch?
24?
24 inch,
I think it's 24.
Yeah, 24.
yeah, 24 inch Richie Price.
Yep. So the
It's a
club,
huge telescope.
the club is actually supporting that effort. Original NASA grant, and the Back Amateur Astronomy was there from the beginning, from groundbreaking, commissioning, and then troubleshooting and donating and all that kind of stuff. So it's an amazing resource at your fingertips, 24/7. You tell them what part of the sky you want to see. It does when the sky's clear and it's open, the weather and the wind and all that stuff is a weather station. And then you also get an email saying, here's your pictures, or here's your data. So.
It's pretty cool. Let's see what else we got here. Next thing I had was old business, which Bruce covered, because he had talked about the East Coast Star Party already and how he sent an email. He hasn't heard anything from the people we were contacting before. They haven't contacted him back. That's why he reached out to the lady that was at the ranger at the Stanton River Star Party, who they deal with there. That's who they're working with right now. So let's see, new business, or is there any other old business anyone needs to cover? Okay, new business. I was contacted by Megan Roberts with the city of Chesapeake about doing a makeup event for Skywatch, something that happened last month with the
Girl Scouts.
And she was gonna reach out to the Girl Scouts, and she already knows the other people that were there, and she wants to do it on the 24th. I don't have my calendar open. Is that the last Saturday of this month? Anyone have their calendar?
Last Saturday of this month?
Yeah,
That would be the 25th.
25th then.
It'll be Friday.
Yeah,
Are you talking about Saturday or something?
Saturday, the
Saturday.
25th.
The 25th.
Let's break this down.
We go and we would do like a Skywatch for just them. If that works for us, I told her, I said, I'd bring it up tonight. She said, if it works for you guys, let her know. But she wants to do like a private thing for them, because there was a lot of Girl Scouts, I guess.
The Girl Scout Astronomy Club.
Yeah.
There's about 20 or 30 girls.
I don't know how many other people, but the Girl Scout Astronomy Club is a big one.
Yeah.
So if you guys are all okay with doing that, I will let her know.
That's a
We can do
new
it on the
moon
25th.
weekend, so there won't be any moon to see.
Yeah. But it is.
So we got
dark.
Chipotle at night also, right?
Yes, we do. It is long, I told her that, but not everyone goes to Chipotle, so, I mean, I can do it, I know that.
I can.
Yeah.
I think.
Well.
So is that the location, Chipotle? No.
No,
No, it'll be at the
Northwest River Park? Okay,
Yeah,
got
it'll be
it.
at the Northwest River Park, and it'll be probably 8 to midnight, the normal hours that we do this time of year.
Okay.
So, show up at like 7. All right, I will let her know then. Let's see what else. James Webb Space Telescope first images, already let the cat out of the bag, July 12th. The time is supposed to be late morning to early afternoon still. They haven't narrowed it down to exact time yet. The locations I reached out to was the Chesapeake Planetarium, the Virginia Beach Schools Planetarium, and I got an email back from Chuck Dibbs and he said he was interested, but I forgot to call him today. I'm gonna call him tomorrow and we can make arrangements. And here at the TCC Planetarium. The one at ODU, he's gonna be out of town, so the planetarium's gonna be closed that night until the end of the month. And Norfolk State University is doing a rehabilitation of the planetarium, so they can't do it right now. So, and we wanted to do it in a planetarium. You need a big room, because my plan is, when we get it open to anything you guys wanna do, I wanted to show the live event for NASA when they show the pictures. So we do anything before or after that, as long as we're doing that. I think that's the highlight of the
And we
event.
can project in the planetarium?
Yeah, that's
That'd be awesome. That would be
I
awesome.
haven't talked to Chuck Dibbs yet, but that is the plan.
Not this
But
planetarium.
this one, no, this one too. Oh, we're doing 3 for sure, is what it looks like.
You can do it.
Wow.
Chesapeake?
Yeah. And when I was last
So
time I checked the
Chesapeake Plaza
event,
and TCC.
yes.
Wow.
The last time I checked, there was 10 people that said they were willing to volunteer. So all the volunteers will be divvied up between the sites, because we'll all be doing the event at the same time, and you'll be, we'll need like probably, if it's the time they're saying, we'll have our solar telescope set up. Now that I know it's July 12th, if someone wants to look and see if the moon's up, you know, we'll know what we need to bring out there so we can do something before or after the event. But definitely solar telescopes. We got the 2 club PSTs, so hopefully someone that has a good telescope will be able to show up there, or I'll put a filter on.
ETX 125 with a solar filter too, right?
Yeah.
July 13th full moon, so it's not a daytime.
July 12th?
Is it July 12th?
It's a Tuesday.
Yeah, so it's one day before.
And it's what time, they?
It's in a daytime, you won't have to.
No factor. It's a full moon that rises with sunset.
It's gonna be in the afternoon though.
Oh,
July 12th.
This
Daytime event,
early
right?
afternoon, late morning is what I'm being told right now.
Okay, so like
July
11 or
12th.
something?
Yeah, 11 till 3 is what I'm thinking. Somewhere in that time
No
window.
factor.
I mean, we can't see the moon.
Moon
but
doesn't.
We can show the sun. If we can't show either because it's foggy, we'll still be inside the planetarium. You ain't gonna rain this event out. And just having I would encourage the club members to still, that are volunteering there, still, you bring your telescope, because people like that. George brings a telescope to every event if it's storming outside, and he'll set it up and he'll show the kids something through a window if he has to, or down a hallway in the school,
Yeah,
and they all love it.
2 weeks ago, I had a Cub Scout event. It was totally overcast, but I had a moon pie set up in one corner of the room and a Milky Way candy bar set up another corner of the room, and we looked at the Milky Way and the moon with my telescope.
that's pretty clever.
The kids liked it, I'm telling you. And even adults, I mean, I was at the Chesapeake Planetarium last Thursday night, and it was cloudy when the public came out. We had the telescope out and it clouded up. So Kit pointed at a bright light and we called it an artificial star. And a bunch of, like, 30 people looked through the telescope too, of the 100 there, so, I mean, some people just like to look at that stuff. But let's see, so I'll find out tomorrow, hopefully, if Chuck Dibbs wants to do it. I'm pretty sure he does, from what the response he gave me. And what I could do is, I'm not sure of the 10 names that said they wanted to volunteer for the event, but whoever those 10 are, I can invite you guys to the last email where they send out the resources. So I don't want to be the only one who knows everything. You guys can all join in on the Zoom or not. You don't have to. And they just basically give you tips every time on how to engage with the public, or how to drum up excitement. Because that's what this whole thing is about, is making feel good about NASA, you know, because of this telescope. I mean, it's a big deal. Everybody knows, we all know this thing is a big deal. We need the public to know.
James Webb has been in production for what, 20 years?
Yeah.
Lots of delays. Amazing.
And I did bring it tonight, but I did make a static display with like the mirrors you guys saw online, you know, with those golden hexagon shaped mirrors. Well, my wife told me it might be raining at the end of this thing, and this foam board, like, I was like, I'm not bringing it. It's like this big, so it's like, I can't cover it.
All right.
But I have, you know, the stuff that I picked up from you, Jeff, that night at your house.
Right.
I'm gonna get some other things printed out and just fix it inside this. It's like a trifold foam board with the mirror in the center, and it's just a bunch of information about the James Webb. So hopefully I can figure out a way we can weigh it down and take it to like the boardwalk or something like that, so people can look at it. They'll point at the sun now. I made two, and I took one to the Chesapeake Planetarium, and it was a bright sunny day. Whew. That thing was like a laser beam. But the mirrors were not allowed. So, I got a lot of notes in here about different resources with the James Webb. Because don't forget, that is probably the biggest event we'll do for the year. You know, there's 3 events on one day. We also have that Mars event at ODU coming up, which is another big event, but I think this James Webb thing is gonna be big. Once we make the information public, I don't know if we should do like RSVP for the public, because there's only so many seats in these planetariums.
Yeah, overflow.
Yeah, I don't know, I need to work out with TCC if they have like a overflow area where they could put people or something
They
like
could
that.
put it in the classrooms, couldn't they?
They could.
Yeah.
I mean, if they're willing to do that, I don't know.
Small.
It doesn't have a conference room next to it. And I don't think the Virginia Beach one has one either.
The plaza, we have that classroom we used to have the meetings in, and the only issue is do they have a projector that they can stream TV, basically it's gonna be TV, or actually web. Yeah, you should be able to.
They should be
In
able
that
to.
conference room,
We'd have
yeah.
to coordinate with Chuck Dibbs.
Yeah, we have to coordinate. They do have an overflow though.
Okay. I'll
Just
remember to ask Chuck about that,
Yeah.
and then I'll talk to Lee when she gets back.
We just don't know how many people come.
Yeah, because I think it could be quite a bit. After what happened with the solar eclipse thing at the Central Library, I get nervous when we start talking about these crowd sizes where you don't know on a big event. If you guys don't know, they had like thousands of people show up there. We had one club member that day.
Fortunately, he had a big widescreen TV.
Yeah.
It shows
During the
the
solar
eclipse.
eclipse, all of us left town to go see the totality, and he set up the telescope and broadcast on the TV that big that they rolled outside, and everybody just shuffled by. Okay. But I mean, traffic was backed up down Virginia Beach Boulevard for it. So let's see here. Next up, for new business, the solar eclipse workshop. I talked to Eddie, got the last person, there he is. Last person who's interested, and last call, this is the last call, not like that email I sent. If you don't know what we're doing, we're making solar filters as a club in preparation for the eclipses coming up. We're gonna use Vader Planetarium material for the telescopes, which is really good stuff that I found out recently. It's way better than what I had before. It's a little bit pricier, but at the most, if you want I think they're 10 by 12 sheets. It's like $37 for a 10 by 12 sheet. And for a big telescope, you don't need to cover the whole aperture. You can do an off-axis filter, and you will see everything fine. So you only need about 4 inches, 5 inches of solar material. But if you don't email me tonight, it's too late. Now in the future, we're gonna have the DO workshop, and I did talk to Jim Tallman too about the astrophotography workshop, and he is willing to do it at his house for people that are interested in doing it. It would be probably 6 to 10 people at the most, and we've done the workshops there before. Just want to make sure, like, if you're there for the workshop, like, you probably won't be able to focus if, like, you bring your kids, and it'll probably be on a Saturday because of his schedule for work and stuff like that. He wants to cover, like, a lot of material, and you'll need to focus. Because we've had him do trainings here, and he can go in deep. If you like astrophotography, that's the guy. It's above me. I don't like taking the pictures. I just like looking at them. So just to run through this list, I want to make sure everyone knows. I got Samantha Erb for the solar filter workshop, Brian with it, Gabriel, David Leonard, me, Jeff Goldstein, George Reynolds, Patrick Bertulli, Ron Herndon, Jeff Thornton, and Eddie Parks. So anyone's name I didn't call and you want to do it, let me know. And if you guys want to see the material I'm talking about, I have the link here where I can give it to you. Actually, I can pull it up while we're doing stuff too and show you right online. But that's the last of the new business I have. Does anyone else have any new business?
Bring up the Jupiter on the splash page.
Yeah.
And put a plug for this. Our club's involved in all sorts of stuff, just fun research, amateur research, pro amateur type stuff. This is on our splash page, and an asteroid hit Jupiter meteor. And there's an active NASA research program hosted out of Hampton University, and the professor is Dr. Kunio Sadanagi, atmospheric science professor there. And what they're doing is taking in the imagery, taking in the imagery of Jupiter. It's called persistent imaging, and you can do it with your cell phone. So anybody that has a telescope or a cell phone can do that, and the instructions are on our website. And what we do is we compile this information and look at the video clip, however, hours, minutes, seconds of video clip, to see this half a second, 3/4 a second, maybe a second and a half long impact. It's just a flash. And based on the analysis of that, they can determine the size, the number of occurrences throughout the year, and then they model the gravitational force of Jupiter and Earth, and you can see where this is going. Now you got a planetary defense type stuff that's happening. So it's an ongoing scientific, it's a global project really, but here in the United States, Dr. Saganagi's on it, and he's got a really nice telescope on top of his building in Hampton University. But you can contribute. So just take your camera, your telescope, follow the instructions on here as an email. If you have any questions, and your name will get submitted, and you'll actually be on ranking. There's people in Australia and France and England, here in the United States, and it's pretty cool. And you can actually contribute as an amateur to true scientific research. And our club's involved in that, has been involved in that for several years now. So.
Alrighty. If there's no new business, we go to observing reports. Jeff, you want to start out?
Oh,
Jeff?
me?
Yeah,
Jeff T.
this Jeff, I'm sorry.
Jeff T.
Was it 1 and 2 or 2 and 1? I don't know.
He's T and I'm
Last
G.
week we had a big asteroid show, or meteorites, not asteroids, meteorites. The club set up a impromptu event at Winster's
Heritage Fairgrounds?
Yeah, Heritage Park in Windsor. That's right.
GC somebody.
The place was incredible. I mean, it had clear horizon. It was almost like a planetarium as far as the location. And we counted between the group of us over 200.
201.
Yep.
201. We packed it in at 1:30. So there was probably a whole lot more after that. It was very successful. A lot better than the last one.
Yeah.
And you took some imagery.
I took a few shots with Pixel phone and was able to do it on night sight. Posted those up onto the web page.
Keep talking, because I'm going to pull up something I just
You gonna
saw.
pull it up? Okay.
No, something else.
But it was just lucky,
We
a
had
few other
11,
people.
we had 11 members, 11 club members there, and one guy came in late and left early, but I didn't catch his name, so he was just a visitor, I guess. I don't know where he came from, but yeah, we had 11 members, 2 of which were my granddaughters, Samantha and Chloe, and they loved it.
Yeah, we had a few other members out there with 35mm cameras that were.
And Gabriel was using Sean's 10-inch telescope, and while everybody else was watching meteors, Gabriel, between the meteors, would find galaxies and star clusters and all kinds of deep sky objects. It was awesome.
Yeah, he was able to make good use of that telescope. But,
This is what I have a Google alert that I get, if someone mentions the club, I get an email. And so I saw this before the meeting, and people were complaining about not seeing any meteors. And it's like, if you were in the city, I guess, I mean, we saw 50 an hour, which is good.
I know, that's pretty consistent.
But they quoted a tweet that I put out when we were out the park.
oh, they did.
Oh, I gotta see this now.
Yeah, so
Here it is.
I said, we've seen over 30 meters so far, and this meter's not dead, because everyone's like, it's a dead, apparently. I didn't know people were saying that, but it's not a dead.
You should have tweeted out at the end. We seen 201.
I think I did mention that, at least on the Facebook group. I mean,
That's cool.
yeah, I just thought it was funny. It's like Newsweek, what?
You're famous.
It's hilarious because clearly people were not in a dark sky, and they're expecting to see meteors that they said were going to be faint. And I was talking to my wife about this because it's funny. NASA said in every report you ever read about this meteor shower, they said it's probably not going to happen. It's most likely not going to happen. Don't count on it happening. And then the public's disappointed it didn't happen. It's like, what do you want? If it had happened and you weren't out there, you definitely going to see it.
It was better than the Perseus last year.
Exactly.
This place was so dark we could make out the Milky Way
Yeah.
in that time of the summer, so that's saying something. You can imagine what the place is like in the wintertime when it's really dark.
Yeah, there's a glow from Newport News area.
Yeah, Suffolk was glowing over there.
But it's a good spot. In fact, everyone said again, Jeff, if you can get us to come out there, we would appreciate it.
All we gotta do is get the police to cooperate.
They were good this time.
They were?
by the way.
Yeah.
Okay.
They did show up at the beginning, and they didn't come back. They said, we didn't even hear about it, but they were fine.
They said they would protect us.
Good.
That's not true. I got eaten alive by mosquitoes. Eaten alive by mosquitoes. Gabriel
Oh, yeah.
did too. He's still recovering.
Gosh couldn't do anything about the mosquitoes.
Yeah.
Windsor Castle Park. Windsor Castle Park.
Yeah, it's just north of Windsor, probably 20 minutes or so, maybe 10, 20 minutes. So it's a little bit of a drive from Virginia Beach, but it was only like 30 minutes. Any other observer reports from anyone else?
While we're on the subject of meteor watch event, I want to code a few of the best things.
I figured you were gonna bring it up, because it was good.
Yeah, for sure, I'll start with, there are a ton of, we're approaching globular cluster season, which if you have a large telescope and a dark sky is a good thing. We saw I forget the exact number, but we saw all the greatest hits. M13, the Hercules cluster, was probably looking the best that night. Like usually from where we observe, from my house, you can barely make out individual stars. Here it was just erupting onto the sky. It was it looked like someone had dropped a glitter bomb. Honestly, that's the best way I can describe it. Two other things. Tons of galaxies. We were actually able to see the disk of the Whirlpool galaxy. Only able to make out hints of spiral arms, but still, any place where you can see the disk of a galaxy is a win in my book.
Yeah, we're talking in a 10-inch telescope too, not like a 18-inch or
That's really good
25-inch.
seeing there.
Yeah.
It was great.
This is Sombrero Galaxy, which is an adjunct galaxy in Virgo. That was another one that was looking really good. By the time we were approaching midnight, the Lagoon and Swan nebulas were up out of the light pollution into a spot where you could actually get a good look. Those were looking great, even though they were still low to the horizon, near a dome of light pollution. This is a really good skies.
Yeah.
And this is in years.
Mm-hmm. I would say probably better than Northwest River.
Yes, it
Yeah,
is,
probably.
definitely.
Sure.
I mean, because the light pollution just crept down.
Well,
into
it's
that
in
area
Windsor.
now. It's definitely better.
Windsor, remember the Windsor?
It's off 460.
But, thank you, Gabriel. Anyone else got some observing reports?
I saw Jupiter, Mars conjunction real close, maybe half a degree separation a few nights ago.
I was like, no one's gonna bring up the eclipse? I bet you guys were there.
Oh, the lunar eclipse.
Yes,
Oh, yes.
Oh, the lunar eclipse.
I was at
yes.
the Chesapeake Planetarium for the lunar eclipse.
That was pretty cool too.
Actually, yeah, someone did post a photo from Ken's. I don't know, he emailed it to me, but
While he's trying to find it, so I will start about the eclipse, if no one objects. So the forecast did say that there was a chance of clouds that evening, but for the first hour and a half, 2 hours of the eclipse, it was completely clear. There was we were able to watch the moon slowly go dark in real time. There was a moment where clouds hit it right like about 40 minutes before totality, but then there was a gap as it entered totality that allowed us to see it in its all regular. It was a bit of a darker eclipse. It wasn't like the bright red that it usually is, and to be fair, there was probably a lot of dust in the atmosphere from that large volcano in the Pacific that came earlier this year. But it wasn't like black. It was still deep, like brick red. It was a very pleasing brick red color. And I forget who it was. I think it was Mel. While we were watching it, the moon actually occulted or blocked a star from view. So there was a star right next to the moon, and the motion of the moon eventually, the star passed behind the moon and disappeared from view.
That's the star
I think
he's
it's
talking
Mel
about. That's right.
who actually caught it on camera.
That's the star he's talking about.
We saw it through binoculars too.
Yeah.
yeah, Mel caught video of it,
Mhm.
and Kit sent me a great picture of it right before it gets occulted, but I don't know where it is. Is that it?
No, this is in my messages, my text
Oh,
messages.
is that the one you did?
No, this is the one a guy took it through my telescope.
Okay, I remember when you told me about that.
Yeah.
Impressive. Take a shot.
Oh, yeah, you
You
did.
want to do it? Had a nice one too with the plane happened to go by too.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
when it started clouding up on me. Got
That's
that
right.
nice shot. There you go.
Oh, yeah.
And if you go on the Facebook group,
Yeah.
I know they were all posted there, so you can check them all out. But it was good. We had about 40, 50 people show up that night.
Yes.
And you gotta remember, that was like, it was supposed to go to 3 a.m. But I think about 1 a.m. everybody was like, okay, because it got cloudy. I'm pretty sure it was around 1 a.m. we wrapped it up. But it was good. And Jeff Edmonton showed up and we were giving a little hard time because of the weather. But it was a good time. And
So who's Jeff Edmondson?
he's the weatherman.
He's
for
the
Channel
Channel
chief
10.
meteorologist for
Chief,
Channel
yeah,
10,
he's-
Wavy TV 10.
He's the head kahuna now.
He's a member, right?
He's a member.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a member. But it was funny. We were giving him a hard time. But the point is that you never know what's going to happen at these events. Like, it has to, when you look on radar and it shows the whole region under a severe thunderstorm, we're not having that event. Anything else, we're having the event. Because, I mean, we've showed up at the boardwalk where it was pouring, the lightning and the thunder. You wait 20 minutes, the storm moves offshore, you set up your telescope, and it's good.
And then, of course, there are also events like, what was it, in Suffolk
Yeah.
last year.
The first event you went to.
The very first event I went to, it was starting out as cloudy. We were hoping for it to clear up, and instead of it clearing up, it instead started raining cats and dogs on us.
They got soaked.
While everyone was out hiking, I might add.
But we still went.
There were a lot of silent people that day, but we still went.
That's right, and we still showed something right at the very beginning. Another cloud, I can't do nothing about that. It was pouring rain. But the point is, if you're curious if we're having an event, just guess we are. Yes, we're not canceling unless it's bad. Any other observer reports? want to do? George has got some videos. Or do you want to do the raffle first?
Oh, yeah, we can do that. We can do that. Let's do the raffle.
Okay.
Okay,
Oh, numbers.
all the tickets are in the hat here.
Oh, those are valid.
We have a runaway.
Yeah. And we're raffling off
I don't have the ticket, so.
David Dickinson's book, The Backyard Astronomer's Field Guide, How to Find the Best Objects the Night Sky Has to Offer. David Dickinson is a member of our club. He's also a very astute writer and astronomer. The winner of the book is
933080.
Man, I got 7-9.
Hey.
Missed about 10.
Congratulations. And actually, this reminds me too, next to these cool solar glasses here, I was given these books, and they're teacher guides from a guy, it was an older gentleman who made these years ago, and he had like 2,000 of them, and then he drove around to the local astronomy clubs, including ours, and dropped them off. So you guys can, if you're interested, take a look at it. They're instruction guides for teachers. That'll help you find the stars.
So it's a planisphere?
Yeah, there is.
Mm-hmm.
You check it out.
There's my lesson plans for the summer.
And just,
I have 100 of them.
just for the record, who was the winner on the door prize?
Claire Twain.
Okay, thank you very much.
It's good, we gotta keep notes. You're not gonna get a bothersome email from us, I promise. I'll do it. No, that's fine. Don't do it by the door. No problem with this. I'll leave you alone.
Okay, this is a NASA production. It's a little bit dated, but it's very, very up to date as far as the information. It's about solar weather, and we've got, it's about, do about 17 minutes. I'll do the introduction and the space weather sections. If we have time, we can go over the polar missions and spacecraft. It's very interesting. But let's do the introduction. Yes?
You need to do the introduction to yourself, George. Who are you, and what's your affiliation?
I am George Reynolds. I've been in the club for 20 years, and served as the secretary, the president, and the vice president, not necessarily in that order. And you don't want me to serve as the treasurer.
And you're the solar system?
And what's the
I'm
affiliation?
also a solar system ambassador, a volunteer with NASA to tell people about space and space exploration. So my hobby of astronomy fits very well with being a solar system ambassador. So let's talk about Earth's dynamics.
Good, he's amazing.
Whenever the sun changes, our Earth feels the effects. So if the sun sneezes, the Earth catches the cold.
Magnetosphere protects us from the vagaries of solar storms.
Aurora is caused by particles precipitating into the atmosphere, causing the atmosphere to glow, just like a neon sign.
The aurora are one of the most beautiful naturally occurring phenomena that occur on our Earth.
Polar has played a rather key role in leading to an understanding of the sun's effect on Earth.
From a distance of 93 million miles, our nearest star, the Sun, has a seemingly benign effect on the Earth. The Sun is an ever-present source of light and heat, showering Earth with waves of life-giving energy. But the cold reality is that the Sun is a seething fireball of nuclear fusion, spewing out inexplicable volumes of electrically charged and heated gases called plasma. This solar wind is thrust out from the Sun's corona, the outer layer with temperatures measured in millions of degrees, and jettisoned to the outermost reaches of the solar system at speeds of more than 1 million miles per hour. Each day, Earth and the other planets are continually bombarded by millions of tons of solar material in the form of the solar wind. The sun is extremely dynamic, and solar output varies continuously. We live in the atmosphere of the sun and feel the effects of this solar variability every day. The electrically charged and outwardly explosive plasma creates an unstable space environment. Each wave of ionized particles from the sun collides with the magnetosphere, Earth's protective magnetic envelope, compressing the sunward side and stretching the night side into a long geomagnetic tail, guiding harmful radiation, electrons, and protons away from the Earth. When the magnetic fields of the sun and Earth connect with opposing polarity, energetic particles of the solar wind stream into the magnetosphere. The visible interplay between the entering plasma and Earth's magnetic field cause large-scale reconfigurations that generate a series of processes, driving the aurora, the northern and southern lights, a colorful palette of dancing ionized particles in the upper atmosphere. It is the same phenomena that creates the highly variable Van Allen radiation belts enveloping Earth's equatorial region. A more profound and less visual consequence of intense solar storms can wreak havoc on modern technology, knocking out communication satellites and crippling electrical systems here on Earth. To better understand the unpredictable nature of solar storms and monitor the space weather surrounding Earth, a fleet of spacecraft are now watching the sun, monitoring its variability, tracking the solar wind on its 3 to 4 day journey to Earth, and closely analyzing the response of the magnetosphere to the vagaries of the sun.
That was the introduction. Let's talk about space weather.
Our neighboring star, the sun, is overwhelmingly important to life on Earth. But there is more to the sun's effect on Earth than meets the eye.
The sun is morning sunlight. It's a very dynamic star, and it never seems to do the same thing twice. It's very hard to predict. And we live in the atmosphere of that star. When you see an eclipse, you see a hazy atmosphere around the sun, and that's called corona.
For decades, scientists have attempted to solve the mystery of why the corona, the outer region of the solar atmosphere, is thousands of times hotter than the solar surface. The temperature differences cause the outer layer to continually stream away radially from the sun, bathing the planets in the sun's atmosphere.
Our planet Earth is deep within that atmosphere. Whenever the sun changes, our Earth feels the effects. So if the sun sneezes, the Earth catches a cold.
The sun changes daily, as does the solar atmosphere reaching Earth. Earth's response to the sun's variability is called space weather.
In the same way that you can predict terrestrial weather by looking at patterns and trends and winds and climate models, you can also predict space weather. If you watch the sun from day to day, you can actually see an event occurring on it and predict that in 3 days' time, we will see and feel the effects on Earth.
I don't want to see that. It's on my bucket list.
One of the easiest ways to detect that something is going on in our space environment is to look through the beautiful auroral lights in our night sky. The undulating curtains of light are a physical sign of space weather.
When you see very bright aurora flowing overhead, you know that there's a space weather event going on. That signifies a connection between the sun and the Earth. Maybe an hour previously, the solar wind was actually connected with the Earth's magnetosphere, allowing huge amounts of energy to come in, causing large reorganizations within the Earth's magnetosphere, and finally powering the beautiful aurora.
It is only in the past few decades that we've realized and appreciated how space weather affects people and their activities. The list of consequences grows in proportion to our dependence on technological systems. The fact is that our well-being is affected by subtle interactions between the sun and Earth. We've long known that the sun is neither featureless nor steady. Dark areas on the sun's surface were first identified as early as 325 BC by the Greek philosopher Theophrastus, a student and contemporary of Plato and Aristotle. We now know that sunspots, some the size of 6 Earths, form and dissipate over periods of days or weeks.
The sun is not a perfect sphere in the sky. There are in fact little dark patches on it which we call sunspots, and those are formed when little loops of magnetic field just emerge through the solar surface. They become very magnetic and they actually constrain some of the solar atmosphere inside that little spot, and it cools the temperature.
As the magnetically charged areas cool from a seething 6,000 degrees to a mere temperature of 4,200 degrees, a dark spot emerges in contrast to the sun. Sunspots regularly wax and wane over an 11-year period called the solar cycle.
The sun, just like the Earth, has a season, except the sun season lasts about 11 years. We call that the solar cycle, and the easiest way to track the solar cycle is to count the number of sunspots. When you see the fewest on the sun, that's what we call solar minimum. When you see the maximum number, that's solar maximum.
Sunspots rotate with the solar surface, taking about 27 days to make a complete rotation as seen from Earth. Large sunspot groupings are often the site of intense and temporary releases of energy, or solar flares. These flares can last from minutes to hours and are the largest explosive events in our solar system, equivalent to about 40 billion atomic bombs.
When you see a cluster of sunspots, you know that you could be in store for some large activity, particularly if those sunspots happen to be facing the Earth at the time.
The confined solar atmosphere can suddenly and violently release bubbles or tons of gas in magnetic fields called a coronal mass ejection, or CME.
The larger the group of sunspots, the more likely it is to be highly active and therefore could become unstable and erupt, sending lots of solar material hurtling towards the Earth.
A large CME can contain 1 billion tons of matter that accelerates to several million miles per hour in a spectacular explosion. Solar material streaks out through the interplanetary medium, impacting any planets or spacecraft in its path. Our near-space environment undergoes major effects when the sun hurtles a CME towards Earth. Solar variation sets into motion a chain of events leading to geomagnetic storms, which also includes spectacular aurora. The initial flare can release very energetic protons, traveling at about half the speed of light, which bombard Earth within 30 minutes. Some of these particles spiral down Earth's magnetic field lines, penetrating the upper layers of our atmosphere, where they produce a significant increase in the radiation environment around the Earth. Earth's magnetosphere is buffeted by a slower cloud of solar material and magnetic fields from 1 to 4 days after a flare or CME event, resulting in a geomagnetic storm. Extraordinary variations in Earth's surface magnetic field result from these storms. A portion of the solar wind's energy is transferred to the magnetosphere during a magnetic storm, energizing particles within the magnetosphere. These particles strike the molecules and atoms of the thin, high atmosphere, causing them to glow in different colors. This is the aurora, a dynamic and visually delicate manifestation of solar-induced geomagnetic storms.
When the event actually arrives at Earth, the whole magnetosphere can become compressed. It almost rings like a bell. You will see an aurora that's briefly powered. It's called a pressure pulse aurora, and you'll see that forming as a direct impact of the shock in front of the event.
The seemingly serene and ethereal auroral lights actually forecast trouble in disguise. Solar storms can cause major disruptions to technological systems, disruptions that emanate from the ionosphere, an invisible layer of ions and electrons suspended in the Earth's atmosphere above 60 kilometers. The sun's extreme ultraviolet light is the main source of the ionized layers. Atoms and molecules in the upper atmosphere are ionized in a process called photoionization, where an electron is knocked free from a neutral atmospheric particle and becomes an ion. Since sunlight is responsible for most of the ionization, the ionosphere reaches maximum densities just after local noon. The atmosphere's ionization layers make long-distance radio communication possible by reflecting the radio waves back to Earth. They also are home to the aurora and the mega-ampere currents that heat the atmosphere at high latitudes during geomagnetically active times. Flares and other energetic events on the sun produce increased ultraviolet, X-ray, and gamma-ray photons that arrive at the Earth just 8 minutes later and dramatically increase the density of the ionosphere on the day side. During solar storms, depletions and enhancements of ionization quite effectively cause problems with the normal operation of GPS, the Global Positioning System. GPS allows a person using a commercial handheld navigation receiver to determine his or her position anywhere on Earth to within 100 meters accuracy. During solar storms, GPS readings can degrade and break down, with the potential to negatively impact the navigation capabilities of ships and aircraft. Magnetic storms affect radio communication at all latitudes. TV and commercial radio stations are little affected by solar activity, but ground-to-air, ship-to-shore, and amateur radio are frequently disrupted. The Federal Aviation Administration routinely receives alerts of solar radio bursts so that they can recognize communication problems and forego unnecessary maintenance. Geomagnetic storms and increased solar ultraviolet emission heat Earth's upper atmosphere, causing it to expand. The heated air rises, and the density of the orbit of satellites up to about 1,000 kilometers increases significantly. This results in increased drag on satellites in space, causing them to slow and change orbit slightly. Unless low Earth orbit satellites are routinely boosted to higher orbits, they slowly fall and eventually burn off in Earth's atmosphere. Miniaturized spacecraft components are highly vulnerable to the more energetic solar particles, causing physical damage to microchips and changing software commands in onboard satellite computers. An increase in the number and energy of electrons and ions in the atmosphere during geomagnetic storms creates other problems for satellite operators. Charged particles striking the spacecraft cause different portions to be differentially charged. Eventually, electrical discharges can arc across spacecraft components, harming and possibly disabling them. Intense solar flares release very high-energy particles that can be as harmful to humans as the low-energy radiation from a nuclear blast. Earth's atmosphere and magnetosphere allow adequate protection for us on the ground, but astronauts in space are subject to potentially lethal dosages of radiation. The penetration of high-energy particles into living cells, measured as radiation dose, can lead to chromosome damage. Large doses can be instantly fatal. When magnetic fields move about in the vicinity of a conductor, such as a wire, an electric current is induced into the conductor. This happens on a grand scale during geomagnetic storms. Power companies transmit electricity to their customers via long transmission lines. The currents induced in these lines from geomagnetic storms are harmful to electrical equipment. On March 13, 1989, in Montreal, Quebec, 6 million people were without commercial electric power for periods of hours to days as a result of a huge geomagnetic storm. By receiving geomagnetic storm alerts and warnings, power companies can minimize damage and power outages. Rapidly fluctuating geomagnetic fields can induce currents into pipelines. During these times, several problems can arise for pipeline engineers. Pipeline managers routinely receive alerts and warnings to help them provide an efficient and long-lived system. While the solar cycle has been nearly regular during the last 300 years, there was a period of 70 years during the 17th and 18th centuries when very few sunspots were seen. This drop in sunspot number coincided with the timing of the Little Ice Age in Europe, implying a sun-to-climate connection. The sun is the heat engine that drives the circulation of our atmosphere. It is not, however, a constant source of energy. Recent measurements have shown that the base output of the sun can vary up to 0.2% over the 11-year solar cycle. Atmospheric scientists say that this variation is significant and that it can modify climate over time. Plant growth has been shown to vary over the 11-year sunspot cycle of the sun, as evidenced in tree ring records. Pigeons and other migratory animals, such as dolphins and whales, are able to detect the Earth's magnetic field and use it for navigational purposes. The effect of the sun on life in society is beyond any question interconnected. Space weather is now a part of our daily lives, allowing us to predict when our next contact with the sun will happen.
Space weather is not just something that's studied by scientists. It is in fact something that affects life and society. In the same way that you would turn on the weather channel in the morning to find out whether it's going to be raining, do you need an umbrella, do you need a coat, you also want to know what the space weather is going to be doing. Space weather is something that we're all interested in.
Space weather depends on the sun, and our next Saturday, Sunday is going to be June 11th. It's also my birthday, so we'll be there at Elizabeth River Park in Chesapeake.
Thank you, George.
Thank you, George.
Very good. Sorry.
Since we have a second, one of the coolest photos I've seen on APOD, which I showed everyone here, I think it was back in February.
Tell everybody what APOD is.
Do you want to tell
Astronomy
me?
picture of the day.
APOD, astronomy picture of the day.
I think this is it right here.
Wow, look at that flare.
That's an old one. That's not even the big one I'm about to show you. That's an old one from, I think it says the 90s? 1999.
Oh, dude. That's scary.
So we got that.
That would have been Valtteri.
This
Whoa.
is,
Wow. That would have been
That was March.
Venus too,
yeah,
wouldn't it?
that was March of this year. Did you mention that we're coming into solar maximum now?
No, I didn't.
Okay. We are, I think, in the next couple of years. Like, if that was pointed at Earth, I don't know what would have happened.
Yeah, that would be that's
I
amazing.
mean, you're talking about the blackout they just said in the video that happened. That was nothing like that. And then in the, I think it was late 1800s,
I have not had
telegraph
GPS
orders
for today.
around a solar flare hit that, and then knocked out communications all over the planet.
Yeah,
It
they
was just a
in
little wire.
the video they said Montreal, Canada, but that blackout extended down New England and into New York.
Yeah. So if that was pointed at us, whew, it would not have been good.
That's amazing.
This is the largest solar flare they've ever imaged. It was taken with the SDO, I believe, the Solar Orbiter spacecraft.
Solar Dynamics
Soho.
Observatory.
And I didn't realize this when I was doing Saturday, Sundays. We do Saturday, Sunday once a month, and we have a poster in NASA Davis. And one of the images in ultraviolet light is from the SDO. And we tell Jesse about it all the time. But the SDO was put up there like a tsunami warning for space weather. So first it hits it radios back, hey, watch out, this is coming. And that's why. Because I mean, if that was pointed at us, they'd probably turn off everything. The only thing you can do is basically shut down all your equipment and hope for the best.
I don't know what happened.
And even that probably wouldn't help up for the spacecraft. I mean, think about how our modern world, it could really affect us. I just thought that was an interesting photo in line with the video. All right, does anyone else have anything to add before I adjourn the meeting?
One more congratulations to our scholarship winners.
Where are you heading off to?
Case Western Reserve University, Cleveland, Cleveland,
Wow.
Ohio.
In Ohio, awesome. Right. Any ideas what you want to study?
Aerospace engineering.
Awesome.
Great.
Congratulations, eh?
I'll be staying local at Old Dominion University, and I will be looking into mechanical engineering.
Awesome. Congratulations. Yeah.
Thank you everyone for coming, and hope to see you at the next one.
All right.